Some events leave a deep mark on history, but none on the land. This is the site of the Battle of Hastings. After almost 1,000 years, no traces of the bloody conflict can be seen. But here, the fate of England turned. It's where a king was killed, and his victor claimed the throne. October 14th, 1066. We know what happened here on this day, thanks to this. The Bayeux Tapestry. A carefully preserved, illustrated record of events. It shows the main players. Harold, the newly crowned Anglo-Saxon King of England, and his challenger, William, Duke of Normandy. William claimed the previous king had promised him the crown. So, he assembled an army and prepared to sail to England to fight King Harold for the throne. But a storm thwarted his plans. Meanwhile, Harold discovered that a Viking invasion had landed in the north. Another threat to his crown. So he raced to fight them. In France, William waited for the right conditions to sail across the Channel to England. The weather cleared. He seized his chance. 250 miles north, Harold had defeated the Vikings. Now, hearing of William's arrival, his army sped south. At 9 o'clock in the morning, on this hill, William's Norman army were ready to do battle with Harold's Anglo-Saxon men. The stage was set, and up for grabs, England itself. On October 14th, 1066, William of Normandy stood ready for battle at the base of a hill. The high ground belonged to King Harold of England and his Anglo-Saxon army. Here, on this hilltop, the fate of England would be decided.
Obéir, c'est vertu. Donnez moi vos habits.
William's Norman army made the first charge, launching a direct assault on the shield wall. Though William's army fought fiercely against the shield wall, it would not yield. As one man fell, another took his place. Overlapping shields in tight formation made for a near impenetrable barrier. Realizing his army could not break the shield wall, William called for a retreat. He aimed to lure the Anglo-Saxons into a false sense of victory. causing them to break formation. William's feigned retreat was working. The Anglo-Saxon army broke their shield wall formation, leaving gaps for William to make a move. With Harold's men no longer in shield wall formation, William could pick them off as they charged. The Anglo-Saxons had deployed rows of spearmen to push back the invaders. But William had an answer. His sharp-eyed archers. More Norman men-at-arms reinforced William's army. Anglo-Saxon archers joined the fray, and the Normans' deadly cavalry ready to charge. At first, William's forces had to eliminate the enemy spearmen, whose sturdy polearms could easily bring down a horse. With the threat of spearmen cleared from the field, William's cavalry was free to charge at the Anglo-Saxon archers. The Anglo-Saxon army was in disarray. Their shield wall had been neutralized, and their numbers were dwindling. Now the only thing standing between William and victory was King Harold himself. The last of Harold's men encircled their king, prepared to lay down their lives to save his. Anglo-Saxon King Harold had fallen. In the confusion, some loyal soldiers fought to the death, while others scattered in panic. Leaderless and defeated, the last of the Anglo-Saxon army fled for their lives. The Normans celebrated victory over the English king, but William's quest to rule England was just beginning. At Guédelon in France, to understand how castles were constructed, they're building one from scratch, using just the tools and materials of the medieval age. It's a 25-year project, the world's biggest archaeological experiment. The most important defensive feature of any castle was the wall surrounding it.
Castle walls had to be incredibly thick in order to resist attack and absorb the impact of projectiles fired from trebuchets.
The curtain wall was over 20 feet deep, interspersed with towers. In earlier Norman castles, they were square. But while on crusade, European knights saw that eastern towers were round. They realized that eliminating corners not only made them stronger, but also provided a better view of the surrounding landscape. Completing the walls will take some 30,000 tons of sandstone.
Transport costs in the Middle Ages were incredibly expensive. So having a good supply of local stone close to the castle was vital.
To extract it from the quarry, first a row of holes is hand-drilled.
Once all the holes are ready, I'm ready to put in the iron wedges, and I'm ready to split it open by hitting very hard on each wedge with a big sledgehammer.
The stone is split into usable blocks, then transported using horsepower and human effort. This treadwheel crane can lift up to half a ton.
The walls are built like sandwiches. On the outside, you have facing walls built from better quality stones. And the inside, the rubble cores, they're built with softer stones and other offcuts from the quarry. And they're built up in layers with a very thick, coarse mortar.
This ingenious method makes the walls better able to withstand hits from a trebuchet. Sandstone is too hard to be carved into intricate windows, vaults, and steps. Instead, softer, more expensive limestone is used. These sophisticated building techniques make castles the ultimate feats of medieval engineering. It's a testament to their construction that so many still stand today. Some events leave a deep mark on history, but none on the land. At the Battle of Hastings, the death of one man changed the course of history. The Anglo-Saxon King Harold was killed here, on England's south coast. His army defeated by William of Normandy. Anglo-Saxon rule was over forever. At Westminster Abbey on Christmas Day 1066, William was crowned the first Norman King of England. Now he had to secure power across the country. He began by stamping his mark on the landscape, building cathedrals and castles at strategic locations. Nothing like them had been seen in England before. They reminded the Anglo-Saxon population exactly who was in charge. But not all were content with living under Norman rule. Anglo-Saxon revolts broke out across the country. King William acted quickly to crush these rebellions. But there was one region where dissent was spiraling out of control: the north of England. In 1069, a group of lords from Northumbria formed an alliance with Viking invaders. Together, they approached Norman-held York, a large city with an important cathedral, still protected by ancient Roman walls. But the walls couldn't save York. The city and the castle fell to the rebels. William's new kingdom was under threat. He had to get the city back under Norman control. William had no choice but to order his men north. But as the Norman forces set off on their long march towards York, how much resistance from the rebels would they encounter? William the Conqueror marched north, with his army of Normans determined to take back the rebel-held city of York. But in his path stood rebel towns that harbored William's northern enemies. He would take the towns back by force.
Explorons. Je veux être audité. Lanquier, si. Momente, si, arquier. Lanquier. Attendez les commandements. Oh, yeah. Vostres. Parate, entendo. Soyez. Lanquier. Preparate, arquier. In avant. Lanquier. Obéio. Apertisez votre courage, compagnon. Lanquier, parapsito. L'heure est de Lanquier. Obéio. Amboula. Ici.
The Normans captured the town of Middlethorpe, establishing their presence in the north. With reinforcements to his army soon arriving, William would need more resources to supply them.
Ma sono!
Quad? Lavoro.
Si. Ambulo. Comprendo. Ubi vado?
Baked!
Ma sono. Ascolto. Bene. Lavoro.
Sì. Procedo. Ma sono.
Che? Orchest. Edifico.
Spero. Movens. Movo. Vacas. Angulo. Frux.
Ah, finit.
Voyez assayez vos armes. Nos allons.
Ubi vado? Escol, vado. Edifico.
Pero. Quad? Si. Materia. Ascolte. Quitamus. Me? Secco.
Me? Alla materia.
Me? Ascolto. Alla materia.
Quad? Vado. Edifico. Sì. Che? Ascolto. Vado. Muovo. Materia.
Ubi vado? Quod? Movens. Edifico.
Attendez les commandements.
Pensala.
Accesbets vos, compagnon.
Parat, escolto. Cavallo. Escolto.
Accesbets vos, compagnon.
Me? Bene. Ma sono.
Very good! Ayuda! Cavallo!
L'heure est de poursuivre.
Bon stress, Lanquet.
The Norman army was now well supplied by a town,
Attendez les
but it would
commandements.
take a sustained effort to keep the army at full strength.
Merci. Bene. Lavoro.
Soyez
Preparate, Archers.
Another rebel town, Fulford, stood in defiance to William's rule.
prêts, compagnon.
Escolto. Bene audite.
Accesbets vos, compagnon.
Ok. Ascolto. Ma sono. Me? Quod?
Andes. Kerte. Bene. Assault.
L'heure est de besoigner.
Auditez.
Lantiers, paraté.
Préparate, Arquiers.
Bon stress, Lantiers.
Moment ici, Arquiers. Parate.
Lantiers.
Parate, Arquiers.
Attendez,
Moment ici, l'avant, Arquiers.
ordonnance. À l'arson, à Sayens,
Préparate, bene.
Escolte. Movaz.
Ubi vado, comprendo. Ma sono.
Ubi vado. Me. Ambulo. Lavoro.
Accespets vos, compagnon.
Moment ici, Arquiers.
Escolto. Procedo. Edifico.
Escoltes, colones. Edifico.
Attendez.
Che? Sì, laburo.
Che? Movens. Massone. Spero. Vado. Escolto.
Chevalier! Accespets.
Parade, in avant, Arquiers.
Soyez allons. L'ennemi nos...
Preparate, Arquiers. Audience.
L'heure est...
Parate, Arquiers.
Attendez, accespets vos.
Moment ici, Arquiers. Allez,
Accespets vos armes. Tous sont prêts!
Movens. Lavoro.
Spero. Movo.
Che?
With the Fulford rebels eliminated, William was one step closer to York.
Edifico.
Knowing he would face strong resistance in the city, William prepared to bolster his cavalry.
L'heure est de besoigner.
Mandem Movans. Fuaro.
Me. Vado. Quod? Orchest. Lavoro.
Quod? In avant. Vado. Che?
Labour.
Attendez. Certes.
Parade. Bene, bene.
Soyez prest, compagnon.
Si. Masono.
Ubi vado. Parade. Escolte.
Masono.
L'heure est de besogne.
The Norman army came under attack from a new enemy, the Danes. William's army held back the Danes' attack, but they threatened to return unless William paid them in gold.
Parade, arquière, d'avant, arquière. Quoi de Labour. Ito. Vado Labour.
Parats pour labour. Inhérence. Cose sera ma sonata. Labour spérance. Movo. Vado laburar.
Mondesqued. Sito. Io ma sono la cose. Parats pour labourar. Colones. Parats et France. Mi flec.
William's reinforcements from the south had arrived, adding vital numbers to his Norman army.
Félicite Beat.
Soyez prest, compagnon.
Si sommes. Ici va tost. Biomasse. Parade pour venir. Cose sera ma sonata.
Labour spérance. Inhérence. Cose sera ma sonata. Qued me. Merci pois. Vado labourar.
Buon lavoro.
Si sommes. Movo. Io ma sono la cose. Parat pour venir. Y affect. Cose sera ma sonata. Labour spérant. Ici va tost. Vado labourar. Parat pour venir. Camino. Bene effect. Io ma sono la cose. Buon labour. Bene audité.
Voyons parade.
L'heure est de...
Audite. Attention. Bene, scolté.
À l'arson, chevalier.
Préparez-vous.
Reste tous up front.
The Normans discovered the source of the Dane threat an outpost on the water. William had a choice: bypass the encampment, destroy it, or pay the Danes the gold they demanded.
Cavallerio, parade.
Quid me? Perfect. Vado laburar.
Let's do some fight!
Sì, parade.
Mande squid.
Attendez les commandements. Accept Voyez express, compagnon.
Dovete archer.
In destroying the Dane outpost, William stripped the rebels of a crucial ally.
Io ma sono la cosa.
William's
Mande
ultimate
squid.
goal was within his grasp. All that remained was to enter York and destroy its keep.
Quito. Cosa sarà massonata? Parats pour laburar.
Attendez les commandements.
Labour Spérance.
Quid ordines.
Io ma sono la cosa.
Vede odite.
Accept Smith.
Parate, allez, archer.
Quid labour? Si, comprendo.
Cavallerio, parade.
Quito. Si, bene. Vado laburar.
Quid la Movenskito. Keller si pois. Cos'è sarà massonata?
Sì, parade.
Buon labour. Colonnes, c'est qui est, colonnes? Si, capo.
Parats pour labour. Si, bene. Io ma sono la cosa. Archer, parade.
Accept boss, compagnon. L'heure est de je peux soigner.
Odite. Preparate, Arcarat.
Voyez prest, compagnon. Incontinent.
Parate, Arcovedio.
En vostre service.
Momentesi, Archier.
Ambula.
Sagita in arco. Archier parat. Attention. Preparate. Momentesi, Archier. Si est. Mande squad. Quito. Vado labura.
Chevalier Westbrook! Sie kommen aus London!
The Norman army poured into York and began sacking the town as they bore down on the keep.
Demandes. Arco parat. Parate, Archiers. Bene, bene.
Odite!
Momentesi, Archiers. Arco parat.
Bene Odite!
Moment. Parat. Sagita in arco.
Attention!
Arco parat. Momentesi, Archier.
The keep fell to the Norman army, and York was secured. The Northern Rebellion was over, and William the Conqueror was uncontested as King of England. One weapon more than any other dominated warfare in the Norman period: the crossbow. 14th century crossbows like this were the culmination of centuries of development. With limbs made of steel, they were incredibly powerful. But earlier Norman crossbows had limbs made of wood.
There was a limit to how powerful these wooden bows could be.
So the idea that Norman crossbows were a powerful weapon is really a myth. Despite this, they were effective at medium range, and that was enough in battle. Drawing the bow repeatedly took a lot of strength. Thankfully, help was at hand.
A crossbowman spanned his weapon with a device called a belt and claw.
This gave him extra leverage, allowing him to use his back and legs to draw the string.
Crossbowmen were vulnerable on a battlefield, so they carried large shields called pavises, so they could hunker down behind, load, pop up, shoot, and then duck back down again to reload.
Crossbows were accurate, took less training, and used cheaper ammunition than the longbow. Most importantly, you could wait to take your shot, so they were perfect for siege situations. To protect crossbowmen when they were defending castles, they used specially built wooden galleries, called hoardings. But shooting down towards an approaching enemy presented its own problems. How to stop the bolt from falling off the crossbow before it could be shot?
What they did is just place the thumb loosely on the top of the bolt, which is just enough with light pressure to hold it in place.
Around 1200, the Norman wooden crossbow was superseded by a new design, the composite bow. With limbs made from horn and sinew, they could be made more compact than a wooden bow. And they could deliver up to 4 times the punch. They were, however, more expensive. So whether on the battlefield or the castle rampart, simple wooden crossbows remained the main weapon of the day. At the Battle of Hastings, the death of one man changed. William the Conqueror had recaptured York from the rebels. Now he wanted to teach them a lesson for defying him. He began a brutal campaign of destruction to crush any further resistance, known as the Harrying of the North. Villages and crops were destroyed. It is said 100,000 people were killed. With ruthless efficiency, William the Conqueror had secured obedience in his new kingdom. But it wasn't to last. It would be thrown into chaos by his own children. When William the Conqueror died in 1087, his favorite son succeeded him, King William II, known as William Rufus. But 13 years into his reign, disaster struck. While out hunting, he was killed. William's youngest brother took his place as King Henry I. But there was a problem. At the time, Henry's elder brother, Robert, Duke of Normandy, had been on crusade. When he returned, he was furious that Henry had grabbed the throne. From Normandy, Robert attempted to invade England to claim the crown from his brother. But he failed and returned home. In retaliation, Henry struck back. In a reversal of 1066, he crossed the Channel and invaded Normandy, intent on undermining his brother Robert's rule. His first target was Bayeux. This rich and splendid city was one of the jewels of Normandy. Henry was to begin his campaign by unleashing his forces on the city. Bayeux was about to feel the wrath of the English army. In the brotherly feud over Normandy, King Henry I set out to make an example of Bayeux, a town still loyal to his brother Duke Robert. Henry's archers took up position on high ground outside the city and faced an immediate attack by Robert's cavalry patrol. Having deployed their palings, Henry's archers were well protected against the cavalry charge. They defeated the first patrol. As Henry set his sights on burning Bayeux, more reinforcements arrived to join his army.
It is Sita for actors. Garu Umba. Look at Austrel Bora. Sita. Yes, sir. Garwigan Abuga Strel Order. Jätteti Regerva Strel Kutte. Fremad Garu. Leoda Hessa. Nu, Choklistan Hessa. Ratje, Strel Boris. Nu, Jana. Knittes. Omi Umavarku. Strel Boga. Strel Bora. Nerdisa! It's Willa! Bully Garwigan Asakna. Abuga Strel Order. Get to the ready for Hesses. Fremad Garwigan. Yeah, bully in the Hess. You're one Garwigan. Airport! Here! Western Frankenford!
The English approached Bayeux and saw that its towering stone walls would not be breached by manpower alone. Henry would need siege equipment and a defensible location to construct it. Henry now called for the services of a blacksmith to bolster the siege effort.
Yes, questo hala. Farete nu. That sulla beo templa. What's the fete? It's Timbra Theos. What's the fete? He's a worker.
Yaru to work. That shule be quat thirty thing.
Yes, sir. Where's the hala and your worker?
Paradon.
Egypt blue that.
Yes, sir. What ye, it's a winner. Each a worker.
Cheerless hair. And your worker. Yaru to work. Each a winner, yes, sir. Where's the hala? Fetch in they would do.
With a blacksmith on hand, Henry's infantry would soon be ready to construct siege equipment.
Each Timbra Theos.
What's the fete?
Theos, man.
That shula beo
What thirty thing? And your worker. You end day off. Yes, del Mende.
Yeah. Yeah, you're at yeah.
Veradon.
Ike on your selly.
Nu, garu umba. Strelbora, si equipa.
Itisita listan veras. Aoridas. Help kayo be ready, precious. Then Hester.
Yaru to work. Off each a car. Each will a delta.
What third faith, eh? Each will a delta. Yaru to work. Each will be a delta. And you work.
Ayored Yaru.
Henry's infantry could now construct battering rams, siege weapons designed to break open fortress walls.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. West to hard and you work.
Garwigan, Aseta.
Then Hester.
Garwigan, each will.
That's Timbrand Shea.
Garwigan,
It shall be yeah.
Yarwe.
Yeah.
It shall be
Yaru.
each Eom Gande.
Nu, Tulkes. Second yard.
And you work. Yes, sir.
Cheers.
West to
Yahweh
Hala.
on your Sammy Ende.
Yes, sir. West to Hala. What third faith, eh?
Each a will if you would do.
What third faith, eh?
Each timber theos.
And you work, huh?
Off each a gar.
Each a work.
And you work,
To
eh?
work.
What's our faith, eh? Here when they off. Ik will do it. Yes, sir. Understood. Can't get they know. Each timber theos.
Ram what? Ram Yaru.
Get to be ready for
What third faith, eh?
That should
And you work, huh?
With the power of battering rams, the English army could crack open Bayer's mighty walls.
gong Gende new.
Each a work.
Dike of yourself.
Yet to the Remat Strelbora, Sithe.
Riedu Seras Yaru.
Yes, sir.
Henry's presence on the doorstep of Bayeux would not go unanswered, and now his forces braced for an attack by Robert's army.
Riedu Sierra. Here we are. On Styria, Campus.
Yarwe. It shall be timbre this. Garu Umba. Strelbora, Yerwa.
Fine. Riedu Seras. Hester Aknawa.
Nu, Tulkes. Second yard. And you work.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Yes, sir. West to Hala.
Each tim Yaru to work.
The Rende new.
Henry repelled the attack, but he knew that so long as Bayeux still stood, the city would not give up the fight.
Riedu Seras Ferende.
Yes, sir.
It shall be timbered this.
Creatures, stand in the yard! On Muna!
Bayer's walls had failed, and Henry's men could now storm the city. Robert's garrison made a last stand to defend Bayeux, but Henry would show no mercy in cutting them down and burning their city.
On Mona.
Yes, sir. West Puhala, heading off. Eat your work.
One here. On way! On Styria! Strelbora! Paragon Gathon! Gritis! Forquarte Fekes! Mit Bardenes! Digestis! Abuga Strelbora! Yes, sir! Strelbora! Gritis! Yara! Strelbora! Yes! It's got swag!
One third faith, eh? If winner do hit. That Shule Bayo Timber.
And your worker. Your window. He's your worker.
Creatures, stand in the Abuga Strelbora! Yeah. Yeah. Städer faster nu. Herat. Je dit het upa. Each year. Knitters. Hinna den sittslunnet och hela. Strävbåren. Siste. Strävbåren. Vi är städa. Je dit het upa. Jösa.
As Bayeux burned and the people fled in terror, King Henry basked in the victory over his brother Duke Robert. But Henry would not stop until all of Normandy was back under the English crown. By 1100, the medieval knight was dressed from head to toe in mail.
Mail is really like a metal fabric. It moves and behaves like a cloth, but is actually made of hundreds and thousands of interlocking iron rings.
It could turn and deflect a sword blade.
As an armor, mail didn't work all by itself. It needed the addition of a padded coat. The coat absorbed the shock of the blow, whilst the mail turned away the cut. Together, they formed an incredibly effective protection.
The first stage in making mail was to create wire to the right thickness. To do this, it was pulled through a drawing plate, which had a series of ever smaller holes, until you got wire of the desired gauge.
To make the rings, we wind the wire onto a mandrel.
And then we take it off the mandrel and cut the rings.
So I've flattened the overlapping ends of the ring, and I've pierced a hole through it. And now Nick has to put a rivet in it. The basic construction of mail would be a ratio of 4:1. So each ring goes through 4 of its fellows. Here you can see I've made a set of 5, which will then be joined to other sets of 5 to create a sheet of mail.
Mail had to be tailored to a perfect fit. It had to be shaped for feet and legs, arms and hands, and of course the head. A skilled mail maker could make very precise shapes.
Of course, for more complicated parts of the body, like elbows, we can actually tailor it in 2 different directions at the same time.
Yeah. So if we fold this in half, we have an elbow.
One of the main benefits of tailoring in mail was that it meant a knight didn't have to carry a single ring of extra weight that he didn't need to.
The mail to cover a knight from head to toe required about 200,000 rings.
High-status knights would have had their mail edged with gold, but most importantly, it had to be functional.
Clad in mail with his shield and helmet, the knight was well equipped to face the weapons of the day. William the Conqueror had recaptured York from the rebels. Now he wanted to teach them a lesson for defying him. While Bayeux burned, King Henry pressed his advantage. Seizing key fortifications and buying the loyalty of powerful lords, Henry loosened his brother's grip over Normandy. At Tinchebray in 1106, brother would fight brother for final claim to their father's lands. Determined to claim Normandy and capture his brother, Duke Robert, King Henry besieged the castle at Tinchebray. But the direct assault on the formidable stone castle was failing. Unable to breach the towering walls, the king devised a new plan to capture his brother.